fine hairy structure, cluster of hairy structures present on the top of the ovary. And when this corolla falls off, this is the fruit, it holds the calyx on the top. And this calyx is modified and called as, sorry, the papa's word is here only. This is a modified calyx called as pappus. And when the fruit is, it is the fruit, the flower, it withers or it becomes old, all these fruits they fly off because this kind of modification of calyx which helps in the mechanism of dispersal of fruit. It exhibits parachute mechanism of dispersal, it flies off in the blowing wind and it falls off somewhere else, and that is why we get lot of weeds of this asteraceae because of that mechanism of dispersal of fruit. And the pappus is a modified calyx, hairy structure present on the top of the ovary, and this modification is meant for the purpose of dispersal of fruit. It's a very important and exclusive character of the asteraceae family members. It is persistent, modification, hairy structure, present as a crown of hairy structure on the top of the ovary, and which exhibits parachute mechanism of dispersal, floats in air, falls somewhere else. That is why we get all these weeds all along the ground or on the roadside, etc. All these members, Parthenium is a weed, Eupatorium, the congress plant we call, because if you get one Eupatorium this time, you will get hundreds of Eupatorium next time, because all the seeds are fertile, viable, and we get the weeds spread very easily from one place to other place because of this mechanism. This is a very interesting example where the calyx is modified into hairy structure, that is called as the pappus. And there is one more, with one modification I will finish off, that is called as spurred kind of calyx. Spurred calyx. Okay, we call it as spurred type of calyx, and this is found in the flowers of impatiens. Impatiens is a common garden plant. The calyx is spurred. Instead of having normal sepals, one of the sepal will be modified into, for example, I will show you the example. Suppose if all the 4 sepals are like this in the calyx, one of the sepal is having elongated tubular structure like this, and this is the stalk of the flower. Okay, this is the stalk or the pedicel, and this is the elongated tubular extension. This sepal is modified into a tubular structure, and this we call it as spur. Spur is modification to store the nectar. Okay, it is going to store the nectar and it helps in the process of pollination again. Instead of having normal structure and shape and size, one of the sepal will become tubular, it will have a tubular extension, and that we call it as spur. It is a modification to store the nectar, helps in the process of pollination. Then we call the calyx as spur. All these things are to be observed in the flower. If you get the modification, then you mention, otherwise no. And the last part of description of the calyx must be the estivation. Okay, you are going to, you know what is estivation and what are the different types, and you can write the word whether it is valvate, deprecate, twisted, quincuncial, and so on. Okay, so with this I finish the calyx part of the flower. Let's continue with the corolla in the next class. Thank you.